Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope. And thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. You can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And so we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And right now, you can receive a 25% off discount at FijiWater.com when you order, not for a subscription. This is a one-time offer for spring. Your code is SPRING. You can receive 25% off of your order of 2 cases or more at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, we thank you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, to discuss whatever topics are important to you and whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. So I want to remind all of our listeners and viewers that we are Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and we are RadioFreeNetwork.com Live. You can go to RadioFreeNetwork.com/new-life, and every broadcast will be available to you. And as we've been announcing, we are in the process of launching our 24-hour internet radio station, WKAP Faith Empowerment Radio, which will be broadcast also on RadioFreeNetwork.com at RadioFreeNetwork.com/WKAP-Faith. And so we want you to tune in to hear music 24 hours a day, music that will encourage you, it will empower you, and it will inspire you to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly become. And there will be segments such as 3D. There will be a health and wellness segment that will be broadcast by our monthly contributor, Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, BeccaTheDietitian.com. And there will be segments on mental health and wellness. There will be segments on financial literacy and on entrepreneurship. Primarily, you will hear music 24 hours a day, and the segments will be added to the automated system so that you can hear them as we go live. And I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers, thank you for sharing your excitement about the launch of the radio station. We are looking forward to the launch as we move forward to do what God has called us to do and make certain that we reach the masses so that they too can hear the good news of what God has promised through his son, Jesus Christ. And so I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers, we're excited, be excited, encourage your family, friends, and coworkers and colleagues to tune in, listen to the music, be encouraged, be empowered, be inspired, and we will look forward to the launch. We will make that announcement, and tune in for WKAP, Faith Empowerment Radio. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have been depressed about the course of your life. The problem is that you have no idea how to change your course. So let me begin by saying this. You want to know, how do you change the course that you've been on? And I'm going to say this to you. Your depression is not clinical. You're right. You're just feeling that life hasn't gone the way you desired it to go. It hasn't gone as you have pursued. I won't say planned, because that was one of the issues. We'll talk about that in a moment, is that you didn't develop a long-term plan. You know, many of us developed long-term plans for our lives, and we lived out the plan that we developed. And we all sin and fall short of the glory of God, so we all make mistakes, and we may have to realize that God is modifying our plan, revising our plan, making changes to our plan. We may have started out with one intention to accomplish something. It didn't necessarily get accomplished to the fullest or according to our plan. God had a better plan. I say all of that to say, you don't want to get into a state of depression. And the reason that you called it depression is because it's lasted for a period of time, and that's the right term for it. But you've got to get yourself out of that space. And the way that you get out of that space is to decide now, look, what you want to do in the present and what you want to accomplish in the future. So think about this. Every day of your life up until this point in time has brought you to where you are today. Right where you are today. The good news is God will meet you right where you are today. You have to make a decision. What is it that you want to accomplish differently? Then you're going to have to write a plan. You're going to have to write a plan as if it were a business plan. You're going to have to write a 7-year plan and start there. What do you want to accomplish both personally and professionally? And begin to take the necessary steps to accomplish that, to work the plan. Just one step at a time. It doesn't have to be, you don't need to try and skip 2 steps to get there faster. You just need to take one step at a time. Now, you have to decide what you want to accomplish differently. So when you look back over your life, you have to say to yourself, okay, the things that I've done that have resulted in positive outcomes has brought me to where I am today. And then you also have to say, the things that I did and didn't result in positive outcomes, I have to live with those consequences. But it still brings you to your present. The good news is you're alive, you have good health, you're in a sound mind, and now you can not only make better decisions, but because you are in good health, you can start taking the steps, walking this out. You have to accept where you are right at this moment and determine what you want to accomplish moving forward. Because now it's all about living in the present and working for the future. The good news is you're still here. You still have life. Now what you want is life more abundantly. So you still have life. That means that you get to wake up every single day and work towards your future. That means that whatever you haven't accomplished to date, you still have the opportunity to accomplish because you're still alive. You have life. You just want it more abundantly. And that's the good news. That's part of the good news. Because Jesus himself said that I came that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly. So you have to look at this as a revelation. You have to say to yourself, I've been enlightened now that not only do I have life, and I don't want to just have life, I want to have it more abundantly. That begins with, watch this, making a decision on what you want to accomplish differently. You know, I'm going to share a really simple analogy for all of our listeners and viewers, because there are other people out there just like you who want a different course of life. So we have to sometimes make some changes that we would not normally make. So I'm going to give you a real good example. So today's Thursday, and on Thursdays I have two schools where we operate our Achievers Academy, and I have to be in two schools on Thursday. And so, you know, because I'm always looking to try to improve some things, as you come to the realization that there's some things that will work better for you. So I don't generally have time to eat a full breakfast on a Thursday morning. It's just, I don't generally have time for that. But what I realize is that I can make some oatmeal for myself. Now we know oatmeal is a good nutritional meal that does a lot of things, but you know, I'll let Becca the dietitian go over the benefits of oatmeal. But I say all of that to say, I realized recently that I can literally, there are small packs of oatmeal that come in a box, and I can literally put it in a bowl and then add some 2% milk, put it in the microwave, and it literally takes me 1 minute to make the oatmeal. Literally takes me 1 minute. So now, if I don't have time to have a full breakfast in the morning, I know I can make oatmeal in literally a minute and a half. Gotta open the pack, gotta pour it in a bowl, add some 2% milk, put it in the microwave, zap it for a minute, stir it, mix it. Well, first I have to mix it up when I add the milk, and then put it in the microwave for 1 minute, and it makes a bowl of oatmeal. There's benefits from eating it, because I want to be healthy, and it doesn't take up a lot of time. That's something I'm doing differently than I've done any days before in my entire life. Because, you know, I like eggs and turkey bacon and, you know, pancakes if I get them. But the truth of the matter is, it's just about doing something differently. Doing something differently that's going to enhance the quality of your life. And so you have to decide what you want to accomplish differently. And then you have to develop a plan, and you have to work the plan. So now, because I've developed this plan, and when I say developed it, I've recognized that this is an available option to me. So I don't have to stop and get a donut because I'm hungry and I didn't have time to eat a full breakfast, but I can eat the oatmeal. And it takes a minute. So I'm saying that to say, we can just find moments of our lives to do something different that will enhance the quality of our lives. But we've got to develop a plan, and the plan has to also include, it's a strategic plan, but it also has to include an implementation plan. So first you have to decide what you want to accomplish differently, and then you have to implement a strategy that will allow you to accomplish something differently. That's going to require you to do some planning. Accept where you are today. Not a bad place. Accept where you are today. And I'll use this analogy because I've used it many times before. We have to trust God that we are right where we're supposed to be this day, at this point in our lives. And that's part of the difficulty for most people, Because when we look back over our lives, we've all made mistakes. And we look at the mistakes we've made and we say it's been a barrier because this is where I am today, that I don't really feel comfortable where I am. But the truth of the matter is, all of the positives and the negatives brought us to this point today. Now the question is, what do we do moving forward? So you change your course by making a decision to anchor today, look out at the horizon, and plan from there. What do I want to accomplish personally? What do I want to accomplish professionally? And you work to that end. It's really not a bad place to be when you trust God that you're right where you're supposed to be. And now you can build from here to continue moving forward in life and having it more abundantly. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill. And if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are concerned about the way your sister is living her life. Nothing appears to be important to her except having a good time. And you want to know, how can you get her to understand that she's wasting her life? Well, there's a couple of moving points going on here, a couple of moving parts, I should say, going on here. So let me walk you through this. First, you have to say to yourself, you're concerned about your sister. That's an admirable thing, that you're concerned about your sibling. You're concerned about the way she's living her life. The problem with that is, it's her life to live. And as long as you don't allow, let me say this, as long as she's not living dangerously living, it's really not necessary for you to be concerned about her. What's necessary is to be an example. What's necessary is to communicate with her and share with her your thoughts and concerns. However, it's her life to live. And life happens to us all. Trust me when I tell you that if she's not living her life the right way, sooner or later, life will happen. And life will make some adjustments in the way she's living. But then you have to realize that when life happens and begins to make some adjustments in the way she's living, you cannot become an enabler. You cannot decide to interfere with what God is doing in her life. You have to be there to be emotional support if she wants to discuss what she's going through, but don't carry the burden. You have to be there to pray for her, because she may not be praying enough. And you have to be the example and communicate with her. That's all that God is assigning you to do. What you don't want to be is the enabler. When life happens, you step in to intervene because, I could use the term, she'll figure it out, but the reality is God will make the necessary adjustments in her life if you allow him to. If you interfere, he's not going to make those adjustments. So you also say that nothing appears to be important to her except having a good time. So I like the fact that you said it appears that nothing is important, because you're really not certain what's important to her, but that's the appearance. And that's not only the appearance she's giving to you, but it's the appearance that she's giving to others. So one of the things you might want to do when you're communicating with her is begin to find out what's important to her besides having a good time. And if that's all that's important to her, again, life will happen. And you cannot become an enabler. But if she shares with you some things that are important to her in her personal life, in her professional life, those, you'll know where to direct your prayers. You'll be able to direct your prayers and intercede on her behalf. Once again, you cannot become the enabler. Enablers are people who interfere with what God is doing in someone else's life. So we have to be mindful of that. And if all that is important to her is having a good time, life will happen. You have to continue to pray for her and intercede with prayer, not with your decision making. And how do you get her to understand that she's wasting her life? As I said, be an example to her that there's a better way to live this life, there's a better way to do it and get better results. Be the example. And she will learn as life begins to happen. She will learn that there is a better way to do this. She's got someone who's an example of a better way to do this. Because you're trying to do things the right way, and that's really what you want for your sister. But here's the reality. Now that the pandemic has been contained and we understand that we have to live with it, your church in your area has reopened. So you're back in church. Your sister doesn't attend church. She loves God. We're all saved that are saved. All of us who are sinners saved by grace are saved. She's saved. But as I've said, even on a Sunday sermon, it's not good enough. And I know people hear this and they're like, well, I've never heard that before because I thought just being saved was enough. Well, you've learned how to die, but have you learned how to live? It's not just good enough to be saved. The Bible says work out your salvation. So we should be working every day to work out our salvation, to become the best version of ourselves that we can become. See, people recite a lot of cliches, but they don't really understand what they mean. When we say become the best version of ourselves that we can become, we're talking about working out our salvation, becoming the best Christian that we can possibly become, succeeding in every aspect of our lives so that we can bring God the glory. So entering into the fullness of God so that other people will say, what must I do to be saved? They'll want the same joy and peace that you have. This is why we've got to do it. The Bible says, search the scriptures and rightly divide the word of truth. So we have to do a better job of this. And so you have to be the example to her that she is just wasting her time. You have to continue going to church so that she can see that there's a better way to live this life. And I can promise you there is a better way to live this life. Because many of us got saved. We learned how to die. We were living in the world, didn't go to church, never learned how to live because we never picked up the Bible. We weren't spending enough time in prayer. We were praying over our food. Pray when we wake up in the morning, pray when we go to bed at night. But that's about it. No relationship with the Lord. So we weren't working out our salvation. We weren't trying to become, we thought we were trying to be the best that we could be in whatever our career might have been, trying to be the best that we could be in our personal lives, but not for the right reasons. And that's where we come short of the glory of God. The right reasons are that we want to become the best version of ourselves, so we spend our time working out our salvation. We spend our time trying to enter into the fullness of God. experiencing that fullness of God. So just recognize that what you have is someone, a sibling, who right now is living life the way the world has taught her to live. Life will happen because it's the world that's teaching her how to live. And when it does, be there to support her emotionally, be there to support her with prayer, interceding on her behalf. Draw the line right there. Because anything over that line, you're stepping into God's realm. You've entered into a place where you don't belong. Because God is doing something in her life, just like he did in all of our lives. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London. The UK, they also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need: shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. I'm in Charles Tyrwhitt Attire today. If you are not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And the White Company, located in London, the UK, they also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at their retail store. They have everything you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. If you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your husband is a bit of an overachiever. Well, you said he is an overachiever and pushes himself very hard, which does not leave much time for you and the children. And when he is present, he's great. However, he has so little time to be present. And you want to know, how can you get him to be more present? You know what the answer to that is? If your husband isn't... So I love the term overachiever, but I don't like the term overachiever when it's used in a negative way. Overachiever means that the person who's achieving has overcome whatever obstacles that have come their way, and they've tapped into the opportunities and used their potential to achieve. That's what an overachiever is to me. So that's a positive result. So you said he pushes himself. You have a husband who is pushing himself to make certain that he builds a better life for you and your children. So I get it. You work your normal business hours and then you end your day. Your husband continues to work. You just have to communicate to him that you'd like a little more time of him being present. So sit down and talk about how you can really look at exactly how many hours he's going to work every day and exactly how many hours he's going to work on the weekends, because he is going to work on the weekends, and how he can allocate the time more effectively and efficiently to spend more time with you and the children. He'll be willing to do that, but the reason he keeps pushing himself is to make certain that he builds a better quality of life for his family. That's the good news, the gospel of having a man of God, that he's going to continue working to try to generate more revenue for his household, to build a better quality of life for his household, and make certain that his children have the opportunity to be successful also. So you've got to look at this in a positive light and thank God for the man of God that he has assigned to your life. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. Remember, your code is SPRING. You will save 25% on one order of 2 cases or more. Not your subscription, but on one order of 2 cases or more, 25% discount at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give you peace. that surpasses all understanding. Have a great day today. I look forward to being in your viewing environment tomorrow. Remember, we are Facebook Live, YouTube Live, RadioFreeNetwork.com Live. Go to RadioFreeNetwork.com. Click on